For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. The last time I preached, way back at the beginning of September, we heard from the Apostle Peter in this chapter, verses 13 through 17. And he had just begun his exhortations to holiness. In several different ways, we heard the command from him to be holy because God is holy. Now, God's holiness means that he is pure and righteous and just. There is nothing evil or corrupt in him. He is not like the world that is just soaked with sin. And because he is our God, he commands us to be like him, to be holy as he is holy. Now, in these 4 verses that we're looking at today, Peter has given the church another reason to be holy. And it's this: the great value of the price that purchased our freedom. Now, 7 silver elephants is a lot. It's something like $35 million in today's market. And how much freedom could $35 million purchase for you today? Now, I just saw there was some mansion being sold for $42 million, so not a mansion, apparently. However, you'd never have to work again. You could live almost anywhere for the rest of your life. You know, you could winter in Fiji, spend your summers in the Swiss Alps, and you could even bring along your family and friends if you wanted. But that is not the kind of freedom Peter is talking about. Because the ransom Peter is talking about is the ransom that Christ paid to free us from total slavery. Before Christ ransomed you, you were a slave. And everyone who does not know Christ is still a slave today. Well, I'm an American, you say. I've never been a slave to anyone. But Jesus says, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. Our sinful nature, with our desires for sin and the guilt that comes with it, is the sum of the futile ways inherited from your forefathers that Peter is talking about here. So in this sermon, I want to show 2 things to you, 2 main things. First being our state of slavery before we were ransomed, and then the second being the immeasurable price of our ransom. Our slavery to sin. One of the schemes that the devil uses to throw us off of the gospel is to downplay our need for God to do something. Many times, you may hear Jesus offered to you as the solution to all kinds of problems, like finding purpose or gaining wealth or making yourself secure. And these are, in a sense, very true, because Jesus does offer a return to your true purpose and treasures beyond what human minds can imagine, and security beyond what anything insurance can buy. But these problems are often spoken as if they are the main issue humans have. And so the great problem we have goes unspoken. And Jesus is made to help us in the area of our felt needs, but not in the area of our real need. Imagine a scenario with me. You want to buy something, so you take out a loan, and it's with some disreputable loan shark. The money comes to you right away, but when you look to check your account balance, you see that you now owe twice as much as what you took out. So not knowing what to do, you go looking for advice, and some people tell you that you should just try paying it off earlier. And others say, don't worry about it, this is just how the loans work. It'll be fine. And some may even go so far as to say you need to redo your entire budget and change your lifestyle until you get this paid off, or under control at least. So as you're thinking that over, you look at your balance yet again, but now you owe 4 times what you originally took out. So now, being a little bit more desperate, you go into your trusted family banker, the guy that your parents have used for years. And he's also the guy who told you not to take the loan shark's money, but he's not going to say, I told you so. After he looks at all the paperwork you bring in, he points out in the fine print on page 73 and a half, loan doubles every day until paid in full. Now, suspend your disbelief for a minute. I know that's not how loan documents are written, and no one would get away with something so bad. They would cover it in jargon, and then they would get away with it. So your trusted family banker sees this and says, there's no way you're going to be able to pay this off. The terms are so bad for you, you'll never get out from under it unless you pay it in full right now. So then, let me ask, what was wrong with the first bits of advice that the people were giving? Because normally, they'd be pretty spot on. Sometimes you just shouldn't worry about it. Sometimes you should try paying it off earlier. Sometimes you should change your lifestyle so you can deal with it. But the real problem was that they didn't understand the real problem. And they could never offer you a solution for your issue because they didn't even know what your issue was. Now, this is what happens when we offer Jesus to people as the solution to problems they think they have. Someone feels like they're aimlessly wandering through life. So we offer Jesus as the one who will give them purpose. Or we see that people are concerned about gaining wealth. So Jesus is put forward as a way to get rich quick and stay rich. Or we see that the insecurity of the times has people worried. So we offer Jesus to them as the best cosmic insurance policy we know. And when we do just that, Jesus becomes the means to an end. He's good at solving the problems you think you have, but that's all you think you need from him. But let Jesus define for himself what he came to do. He says, the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. And what I quoted earlier from John 8, Jesus answered them, truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The Son remains forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. To use Peter's wording here, the problem of humanity is that we're enslaved